Now I believe there comes a time when everything just falls in line. We live and learn from our mistakes. The deepest cuts are healed by faith. Now I believe. All fighters, all fighters, all fighters, all fighters, fighters, fighters. Now I believe there comes a time when everything just falls in line. We live and learn from our mistakes. The deepest cuts are healed by faith.
Hi, and welcome to ReneMarie Stroke of Luck. I'm ReneMarie, and welcome. We're really happy and honored and really privileged to have this opportunity for 2 separate hours to come into your lives and really provide some hope and peace and love and just enjoy the moments for 2 hours. It really is our mission and our purpose in life. Sometimes we go into deep recovery, but we hope that and everything else will bring hope and love. But this show is about energy and passion and vibrance and visions and upbeat. And I saw Eileen, our guest, hopping through the song, and that's really my mission with that song, All Fired Up by Pat Benatar, that I sing on the entrance, is really to lift people up and lift your spirit up and lift your energies up, and it's incredible. And we're really happy that you're joining us today. 2 things before we begin. Stacy, I know Stacy Kaplan, one of our guests, scheduled guest, was not feeling well the other day, so I know that we hope you're feeling better, Stacy. And of course, we love you, so take care of yourself. And the other thing is, I know we promoted that Mark McEwen was going to be the co-host, and Judy's going to wrap around and see. Maybe it was on our end that we made the mistake. We're not sure, but we're going to wrap around with Mark to see what happens. But I believe that God has a purpose for everything. And they weren't supposed to be here. It was supposed to be us talking about this for 1 hour, and it really is important stuff. Let me introduce. Let me backtrack. Let me first welcome from via Zoom, Judy Marlowe, my co-host. Hi, Judy.
Hi. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. And of course, we want to thank Jim in the studio. He's behind the Stroke of Luck photo. He's waving to everybody, so I'll take a photo. Jim, can you take some photos of us as well? Yeah, so Judy is going to be doing a little spotlight segment. Judy, what's that on? What's the topic that you're going to be doing the spotlight segment on?
Positive thinking while caring for a loved one who suffered a stroke.
Wow, that's empowerment. So, and then, you know, this is, we're welcoming back a return guest, Eileen Lichenstein. How do you say your name? Lichtenstein?
Lick, like lollipop. Lichtenstein.
Lichtenstein. I'm good at that. I'm going to write lollipop next to my Lichtenstein. I'll get it. But so Eileen was on our show a while back, right before the pandemic, or right at the beginning of the pandemic, I think it was, because we did it from my home, and we did it via Skype. and it was a whole different format. It worked well, but we're really happy to welcome you back, Eileen, because we decided, we talked before the show, that you're going to be a regular on our show 4 times a year, because what you share is so important to bring education and really teach people the positive way to discuss vibrations, visualization. Let me read something. Eileen will discuss positive visualizations and being grateful for what is, being helpful in restoring balance and sanity for someone suffering a traumatic brain injury or any other illness, or just life in general. Her guiding visualization, and that's funny that she is a visualizer, because so am I. That's one thing I've always shared about myself, is I'm a visionary, and visions, and when you see things, they really can come true. We'll talk about this throughout the show, but when you're visualizing, it doesn't necessarily mean that particular thing is going to come true. It means that that's kind of what you want, but the better thing will come out for you. And you'll go, wow, that's incredible. I was thinking of this and this happened. And it kind of guides you to how to get there. So it's really important. So let me just finish reading. Her guided visualization and relaxation breathing can be easily incorporated into a daily routine. Gratefulness is definitely #1 strategy for feeling good. That's so true. You got to wake up in the morning being grateful. I try to do it 3 times a day, or I actually try to live on a guided gratefulness, always being grateful, always being grateful. She suggests making a list of different people and places and things in your life you're grateful for, and visually looking at them and discussing with others. We're really happy to welcome you, Eileen.
Thank you so much, ReneMarie, for that fabulous introduction and for having me on the show. And thank you too, Judy. It's been absolutely a gift to me to arrange this and to be here now. Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. You know, share with us, how has it been through this pandemic with you? Like I was saying prior, I think it was in the green room, I don't know, you know, the green Zoom room, Zoom green room. The Zoom green room. Is that true? Is there a Zoom green room?
Now there is.
It's before you come on the show, right? Where you're in a location where you're talking and discussing things before you get on the show. And that's what we do, right? So it's a Zoom green room. Myself up sometimes.
Renee, you coined a new expression.
I know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we were talking before. I forget what we were talking about. What were we talking about?
You asked me a question when we were in the green room about that. So my emotional plane has been disrupted a lot during the virus, and I've had to work really hard with positive visualizations, being grateful, EFT tapping every day, several times a day, first in my bed before I pop up, then later outside, whether permissible, on my deck or in a chair where I could see the outdoors, and then later in the day, because I've had family situations, and what I'm grateful about is right now everyone is healthy, that I've been thinking I haven't seen in 10 months and all this kind of thing, because my daughters and their families live in Europe. And I'm just grateful they're healthy now. My daughter in London actually had the virus early on, but she had a pretty quick recovery. And yeah, and they just were, those two families, the daughters' families, just spent time together, laughing and playing at a beach area in Spain. So I am just delighted that they can do that, and they always kept up the FaceTime and WhatsApp and every way we communicate. So that's what I'm grateful about mostly now.
Yeah, it really, this pandemic really has, I always say that this pandemic has been horrific. It has. It's been a whirlwind. But you always have to, like we talk about, you always have to look for the grateful things within those horrific moments. And there are, let's talk about those grateful, first of all and foremost, above anything else during this pandemic, is that everyone has their health. When you have your health, you could fight to have correct and fix other things in your life.
Yes. So part of my journey during this pandemic that I haven't yet spoken about here, and here I go, because my husband is doing so wonderfully. He didn't have the virus, and he had lung-related issues, and he actually is better than ever with his numbers with that, because he rides his bicycle, he plays golf, he has this little thing he puts his finger in to see what his, how his
Oxygen.
thing is. Yeah, thanks. His oxygen level. And he's so good that it's like, I'm just so grateful for that, of course. And my mom, who's going to be 96 in 2 weeks.
God bless her.
Is hanging in there, and she was actually recently in the hospital, and her nursing home didn't have visiting yet. And I said, okay, silver lining, I could visit her in the hospital.
Right, right.
I hadn't seen her in 5 months. So just sharing, you know, we all think our thing is the worst, but we all have stuff.
We do.
Okay.
We do.
And we were just talking about act as if. So when I would walk in that hospital, I would put a smile on my face, even though I was wearing my mask. You couldn't see it, which is my.
You can see it with your eyes, though. You can see it in the eyes.
Actually, if people are noticing that.
But did you see that they have masks that have clear here?
No. I've seen that. Oh,
yes.
My goodness.
They're
Perfect.
clear here so that you can smile and people can see you.
Wow, I didn't know that yet. I love that.
Yeah.
Because one of the reasons I'm still working online for everything for my clients is because I don't want to guess what's behind the mask. So I love that idea.
Yeah. And, you know, really, I think that right now it's important for us to all stay put. Stay put until we get through this next period of time where they're talking about the surge coming back. Once we get through that, you know, if we'd all stay, this is my own feeling, and I'm not a doctor, I don't know anything. And
You're not a doctor?
No.
You know everything anyway.
Doctor of love. That's what I'm a doctor of.
Yes, that's true.
But so that's what I feel, that I think if everybody stay put. Oh, hi, Stacy. Wonderful. I'm so happy she joined us. But hi, Stacy. I'll get back to you in 1 second. But Judy. Hi, Stacy.
Hi, Stacy.
Hello, Stacy. Hope you're feeling better.
Hope you're feeling better. Is everything okay, Jim, with the fact that Stacy just jumped on? I can't hear you. Well, Jim's working on the back end, but
we're all good.
Okay, great. But how come it doesn't look on Facebook, Jim? I just want to make sure.
Yeah, that was momentarily when she first jumped on. That goes away. We'll say.
Right. Okay. So Judy, share with us, you know, some positivity that you've had to hold during this COVID time?
I've had to be positive about not being able to see everybody that I really wanted to see. I belong to about 5 different organizations. So I've been emailing and talking on the phone to them to make sure everybody's feeling well and everything's going well for them and their families. Unfortunately, 2 people that I know recently passed. One from Rotary, who I've known when I was an assistant governor, and I was very upset to hear that he was ill and that he passed. I'm not sure what he passed from. And the other was somebody that we really cared about from the Oaks.
Wow. Wow. Did they pass from COVID, or did they just pass and you come with them?
One of them from heart. I believe the one from the Oaks was from a heart disease, but I'm not sure about the one from Rotary. And he was in the district level. He was very active in the district level.
Wow. Wow. Well, what did you do positively, like Eileen is suggesting, to help yourself get over that?
I took walks. I went in the backyard and sat in the sun and read motivational books, and I love reading, so mostly that's what I was doing.
Good, good.
And of course the usual cleaning of the house and all the cooking I did a lot of cooking.
I know, and I spend a lot of money on food.
I want to say that my husband said he was eating better with all the cooking I was doing than he had in the past.
Yes.
Don't get too spoiled.
Now you can start going out to eat, because they do have outdoor dining.
Yeah.
So you can get back to going out to eat. So that's good, Judy. So I want to introduce Eileen to Stacy. They've never met. Stacy is, let me read her short bio. Stacy Kaplan graduated from Fairlawn High School and went to Rutgers University. She became a 3rd grade teacher for 12 years. Unfortunately, she had to retire due to a massive stroke. Stacy will discuss her personal story as well as aphasia, problems understanding what others are saying, written materials, and difficulties with handwriting using numbers. Aphasia happens when a patient has a stroke, brain injury, or trauma. And Eileen, I want to share something with you. Maybe this is something that we could work on together. I'm trying to bridge that gap. I think I know the answer to this. I think I've found the answer in my world. I'm just going to put it in your brain, and then maybe offline we could talk about it. But I'm trying to figure out someone like Stacy and myself that suffers a stroke initially when we suffer that stroke, right? And you're talking about having to fake it or gratitude or creating this visualization. But how do we do that when our brains are scrambled and we don't know how to get there? We can't understand it, right? Stacy, you can understand that?
Yeah, when you have right after the stroke, you just need to have a little time.
Yeah. So, well, in my world, and this is why I'm writing a new book, Love Them Through It, it's called. And they have to, the people around you need to love you through it to get there. Eileen, can you talk? Because I'm not sure we can hear you.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
I was just mouthing yes because I didn't want to interrupt you.
Oh, come on.
And I'll say, through any major illness or injury, it's so important that those who live with you, are close with you, love you through it, no matter what. That's what I was thinking, and I was just saying yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. And it just came to me when I was meditating one day. I'm working on my book, Extra Innings, which is really, it's a big project. It's going to be my documentary. It's going to be, I hope, a movie one day to bring hope to people. But I heard, write a simple book. Love them through it. That's what you believe in, to love them through it. And you always say it to everybody, love them through it. So write a simple book that people can hold on to when they first have their loved one going through anything, you know, primarily strokes, but anything, you know, you have to love them through it. So yeah.
Yes.
So
yes. And may I add here,
yes,
it's reminding me, there was a period of time where I was an employee at NAMI, National Alliance for the Mentally Ill, and they work against stigma for mental illness. And in your book, in addition to all the physical and even emotional things to love people through, if they have diagnosed mental illness, it's really important to honor that as well.
yeah. We have to be kind to one another. You know, we don't know what that person's going through unless you understand it. We did a support group. It was incredible, and you're more than welcome to join us on our support group. We do it 2 times a month on a Wednesday evening at 8 o'clock, and we had 2 people that shared their stories, and one had tried to commit suicide like Stacy did, and I only say that because Stacy spoke about that on our show. She made it public on our show. And the other one is Dennis is really trying to, he had a more severe, no, they both had severe, but he's having more communication problems with people. And to me, and I was trying to share with both of them that, we'll love you through it. We'll love you through it, and I gave them like a little bit of, just, I wouldn't call it a challenge. I would just say a visualization goal, and I asked them what, in 3 months, I want to know, like, where can you get to that next level? And Pam said, walking around the block by herself, and I said, okay, well, then in 3 months we'll come back. And if you can walk around the block, that's great. And if you can only get 3/4 that you're halfway, that's great too. Like, don't pressure yourself, and Dennis is going to be on our show. So we're trying to walk the walk that we're talking, so. Pam, before we get into daily checklist for less stress and self-esteem guide, how have you been surviving this pandemic? Stacy, sorry.
Walking a lot. I'm averaging about 7 miles a day.
Wow, that's amazing.
Wow,
Congratulations.
It's something to do. It gets me off the couch.
oh,
And
yes.
then I do it in the morning. So then if I'm sitting around the rest of the day, I'm not as guilty. And also it enables me to eat whatever I want because I'm exercising.
Yeah.
And they say that when you exercise in nature, it's a lot more effective for the endorphin effect and feeling good. It's even more than simply exercising, which is great also.
Wow.
And I have been walking forever, even in the winter and stuff. As long as you dress properly, the weather's not too bad.
Yeah. I can't take the cold. I'm not good at it. So, okay, so let's get into, I downloaded one of Eileen's Balance and Power free documents on her website. And the website is Balance and Power, Eileen, is that what the website is?
Yes.
Balance and Power.
So,
say it again.
.com.
.com. And she gives away a lot of free information. And this is one of the documents that I downloaded. And I thought it was important for us to just have some visualization that we can go over. And it'd say, creating inner calm in a chaotic world. This is really a chaotic world. Affecting stress management. And let me share that we're in a chaotic world, but in our world, stroke and aphasia, it's a traumatic it's traumatic. And it's almost the same type of thing. So you have not only the stressful world that you got to deal with when you come out of a stroke, and your family has to deal with that as well as you know, the chaotic world. So it's kind of crazy. So tell us, oh, it does say it on there, I'm dumb. Daily checklist for stress. Let's go over it. Meditation. Eileen, take it away. Set alarm early or before family awakens. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, you only need to set the alarm if you need to do that. If you wake up earlier than the rest of the people, either in your room, in your bed, in the house, then just lie in bed a little bit longer than you usually would before whatever you do next. And just count your blessings, so to speak. Think of all the people, places, perhaps things that you're grateful for. And just and visualize it if you're able to. If not, it's fine just to think of it and name them. If you're by yourself, say it out loud. It's wonderful to hear yourself say as an affirmation / visualization, I feel great because I'm grateful. You see, I just added that I feel great. That's the affirmation part. I feel grateful is the visualization, positive, you know, being grateful. So someone recently asked me, what's the difference between an affirmation and a visualization? So that's it right there.
Good question.
Yeah. So an affirmation always starts, or usually starts with I am. Like, I am smart. I am creative. I am, you know, on and on. And I've had clients write that down on Post-its and put it right above their computer, you know, if they're on the computer a lot, or on the bathroom mirror, and so on. So a visualization, you can see everything, and the I am can come first, and then it's double whammy.
Right. Now I have two questions for you. First of all, I know that when you say it, that's important. But when you actually write it down, you're actually putting it in writing. And it's so powerful when you put things in writing.
Yes.
And to put things in writing and then hang it, like you said, up on something, it's so empowering. So empowering. Am I speaking the truth, or share with us that?
Yes, the more senses you can use, you know, on one task or one thought, so you're thinking it, you're seeing it, maybe you're saying out loud, so you're speaking it, you're hearing it, and writing it. And if Post-its don't resonate with you, keep a little notebook, and before you pop out of bed, just write them down.
Right, right. Now, Stacy and Judy, do you, either one of you, write and post it, or how do you visualize? How do you motivate yourself? Stacy, you go first.
So after my stroke, I actually thought about it, wrote it down. I had a copy of the list in my wallet because I was living with other people and I didn't want it just hanging. And now I have it on my phone in the notes, just to check back.
Yes,
perfect. And Stacy's really a good one to have on the show, because she, like myself and Keith, pushed ourselves to get there. But I want to state once again, there's some people that don't have the understanding that they can push themselves. So, but you pushed yourself, Stacy. You were like, I'm going here. I'm not stopping until I get there, and you still push yourself. So, you know, kudos to you. Congratulations. Judy, how do you?
I learned this many years ago. I had a terrific boss who said, you have to listen to motivational tapes. I was an executive recruiter. And dealing with clients, you're dealing with a lot of emotions of not only the client, but the applicant or the person you're recruiting, and you don't want any negativity. So riding to work in the morning, she said, your car is the best place to get some education. And she said to everybody in the office, listen to motivational tapes. She used to take us once a month to meetings, and we met famous motivational speakers and spent the whole day, usually on a Saturday, once a month, listening to motivational speakers. And I think that she made it a competitive thing in the office too. Who's going to have the most sales? Who's going to place the most people successfully? And she would have a board up and have everybody's name on it and how they're doing. And I felt that with these motivational tapes that I was able to surpass a lot of people in my office because of it.
Wow. Wow. That's incredible.
I just want to add one more thing. Part of my recovery was joining Toastmasters. It's a safe place to speak out loud, and they give you positive feedback, which is great.
They only give positive. They don't give criticism.
They do, well, they give things that will make you better, not criticize.
Wow, that's incredible.
I also want to add that the Dale Carnegie course was very helpful. And I took that too because I had to give speeches on the spur of the moment. Another boss used to just all of a sudden announce to me that you're going to be talking at Stouffer's, and Newsday and other newspapers are going to be there. And I'd say, what? And you're going to motivate the sales force. I said, you got to be kidding.
Wow.
And so I took the Dale Carnegie course, which helped in public speaking. It helped with memory. It helped with a lot of things. And it kept a positive attitude going.
It's funny you should mention it, because I called Dale Carnegie about a year ago to see about taking their classes, and
It's
keep getting there.
Life-changing. It really was.
Yeah, I took the Wayne Dyer. I took like a bunch of, I don't know if you know this, Eileen, but I'm also a life coach. I also,
I do.
Yeah.
And I want to just add that the modality emotional freedom techniques, EFT tapping, which I'm level 2 certified with, and I use with almost all of my clients, and as part of what I do in the morning, not while I'm in bed, but in my outside or inside first sitting. And what it's really, really good at is transforming, erasing, reversing fear. So fear of public speaking, any phobia, and procrastination, which is always based on fear. So if you want to learn how to do that, just ask me. Also, I have an ebook on that products page simply about EFT tapping, and you can find out a lot about it on my website.
And why don't you, now that you brought this up, because you did this at another show, can we do a sample of tapping?
Oh yeah. Shall I do it right now?
Yep, do it right now. Do it right now. We wing it. We kind of go where we want to go. Then we come back to the center.
Okay. So we start with 3 setup phrases, and even though it sounds like, however it may sound, it's kind of, they're negative affirmations in a way, like this. Even though I had some concerns, I had some fear about Mom being in the hospital recently, I love and accept myself. Even though Mom is in precarious health, I choose to believe that she's being the best she can be at 96. Even though I'm on this show talking about my mom, doing the tapping like this is really helping me too, just sharing. So those were 3 setup phrases, and real quick. start with the negative. Mom was really sick. She was in the hospital for a week. I got to visit her. That was better. She didn't always know who I was. She has severe dementia. I trusted the doctors. I trust the treatment. And we all said no surgery. Yes, you could do medicine drips and all that. And she's pulling through. She's back in her home now, nursing home. And they just started visiting. I think after this show, I'm going to visit Mom, especially after this conversation.
I have a question.
So, one second. Let me just finish this round. Thanks, Stacy. So, finishing this round, and we finish like this. Let me just say, I hope you can hold your question a sec, that this part, all the meridian points in our body, and there are thousands of them in the Chinese acupressure system, they all meet at the top of our heads. So we all know, at least on this show we know, how sensitive babies' heads are. And for their many
Because
reasons.
they have a hole in the center of their head.
Many reasons. I don't know about a hole in the center.
Well, it's not a
spot.
Yes, sorry.
So in addition to it being a soft spot, right there, all the meridian points meet. So, yeah, and it works for pets too. I tap on my cat when he gets out of sorts.
So Stacy, you can ask your question and I'll ask mine.
What I was going to ask is how does that make it better? Like, what does it do?
Okay, sure.
You froze.
Good old technology.
Okay, you're back. You're muted. You're muted. Eileen, you're muted. That's okay. It's technology.
I'm unmuted now.
I'm muted.
So when we tap, there are some physical changes that happen in the body. And what happens is a stress hormone is released. And a really good one, a sister of endorphins called serotonin, goes up to the part of your brain that deals with emotions. So it's only good. Even if we just know the points and tap without telling a story, it's good. Because you're having that exchange, that release, and the good ones going up.
Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. Yeah, I have, I don't know if you watched all our shows, you didn't watch all our shows, but I have a dear friend, Karen Noe, who's a medium, and she believes in tapping as well. So she's been on the show, and you did tapping last time you were here. So
yes.
It's a really, what I'm understanding from what you're sharing with us is, people, there are simple ways to help yourself, and they don't cost anything, you can go online. I know that your added support, your added help if somebody is interested, but there are ways that people that don't have the financial support can get it, and they can get it from watching the show with you helping them, or they can contact you. It really, there's simple ways to do, what is it, Western medicine, is that what it's called?
Emotional freedom techniques, EFT.
Right.
And I'll just add really quick that serotonin, which is the good chemical that goes up to the brain, when it's pharmaceutically produced, it's often an ingredient in antidepressants. So it's often a natural alternative. Sometimes under, their medical care, some clients see me when they're trying to wean themselves off of some kind of medicine, or they just don't want to take it at all. They haven't started yet. So it's an alternative, even though it's very mainstream now. But it can be an alternative way to release stress and bring up good feelings.
Right. Wow. That's incredible. That's incredible. So, Judy, we're going to ask you to do your spotlight segment in 2 seconds. But what I wanted to talk about was you brought up a mirror. And I'm also writing, this is in the backdrop, I'm also writing an Awaken Your Practice book from my life coaching. And in it shares how people really need to look at themselves, look in their eyes, love themselves, look in the eyes, because we really don't take the time to look in our souls. And that's a way that I believe you could look into your own eyes. We look into other people's eyes. Why don't we look into our own eyes? You know? So share with your thoughts on that. Eileen.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were asking Judy.
No, I'm asking you first, and then we're going to Judy and Stacy. Then Judy's going to do her spotlight segment.
Yes, look in your own eyes as well as everyone else's. It's absolutely true. We can see our demeanor in our eyes, and you may have heard that smiling helps to bring good chemicals up to the brain as well. And long ago, when I first learned that, I said, they've got to be kidding. Like, fake smiling can make me feel better about whatever it was. And I went to the mirror, not feeling in a good mood at all. And I faked a smile, like I was a clown or something. And I was looking in my eyes, and I just cracked myself up. I started laughing hysterically. It was so ridiculous. And of course, all the facial muscles that are used when you smile and laugh is a stress reduction. So yeah, it works.
So, you brought something up that I want to share as well. We'll talk about this when we come back, but I'm going to tell you because I'll forget. I want to talk about the fact that people would think that because we're so positive and we try to stay in that lane, that first of all, bad things don't happen to us, and we don't get into that depressed mode, because we do, but we try to get out of it. So if you can remember that, and we'll talk about it. But Stacy, do you look into the mirror at all?
I do.
You do. Good. Good. And what do you get from it when you look into the mirror?
I feel more positive when I look at myself, and I in my head say all those things in my affirmation list.
Good. Good. And what's one of the things on your affirmation list?
That I'm very strong and competent.
Good. That's excellent. That's excellent. Judy, do you look into the mirror at all? Do you visualize? Do you look into
not
the mirror?
really. If there's something that I want to think about as a positive statement, I'll write it down and stick it on the mirror, so that when I go to the mirror for a different reason, I will see that note, and it would remind me to be positive about whatever the situation is.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. So I guess that segues right into your spotlight segment, and it's so take it away, Judy. Do your spotlight segment.
Positive thinking while caring for a loved one who suffered a stroke or any other illness. Positive thinking doesn't mean that you should keep your head in the sand and ignore life's unpleasant situations. Positive thinking means that you should think about it and approach it in a more productive way. Think the best is going to happen, not the worst. Health benefits of positive thinking are: they will increase your lifespan, lower your rates of depression, lower rates of distress, greater resistance to the common cold, better psychological and physical well-being, better cardiovascular health, and reduced risk of death from cardiovascular disease, and give you better coping skills during hardships and times of stress. Stroke and stroke recovery can cause feelings of shock, fear, and loss for the members of the family. Your loved one may have lost the ability to speak, walk, talk, comprehend, or have lost their memory. Be strong and focus on the solution, not the problem. Get your loved one to the hospital as soon as possible because time is of the essence, especially during a stroke. Ask the doctors direct questions about your loved one's condition. Make sure all the tests are given. The CAT scan, the MRI, the MRA. Find out what kind of stroke your loved one suffered. Can they get a clot-busting medicine? If it's a hemorrhagic stroke, which is a bleed in the brain, do they need an operation? What are the alternatives? And then from the hospital, if you're being told that your loved one is going to have to go to a nursing home, ask for time because sometimes they rush you. Say, I need a day or two or 3 days or a week or whatever. I want to find a nursing home that's near where I live, near where you live, and that you're comfortable with. Recognize that caregiving is made of many individual tasks. Some take minutes, some take hours. The challenge is to know the difference. Recognize that asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. Create a list of tasks that you need to get done during the week. Group your tasks into categories. Write down your caregiving worries and share your list with somebody that you trust. Don't let anyone, and I'm stressing, do not let anyone visit and make negative statements. Remind them when they go into the room of your loved one that they must say positive things. While your loved one is recovering, encourage independence. Try to encourage participation. Your loved one will benefit from taking part in the decision-making process, especially if they're going to be getting home care. Exercise is important during stroke rehabilitation. Don't make the mistake that the stroke patient is too fragile for exercise. Get facts and assistance from your rehabilitation center. Suggest leisure activities and family visits. Quality of life is the goal in rehabilitation. Be a good stroke caregiver. Very important. Show support, compassion, caring, and loving by giving hope and encouragement. Caregivers need family and friends' support to deal with these assorted problems. To be the best caregiver ever, you must take care of yourself and your physical health and your emotional health. Build a support group of friends and family. Talk about your feelings. Ask others to take over for you for a short time so you can take a break and maintain your hobbies and interests. Eat well, sleep well, and take time for you to exercise. If you find yourself getting angry, resentful, or depressed, speak to your doctor. I have a couple of inspirational quotes that I would like very much to share with you. A positive attitude awakens inner strength, energy, motivation, and initiative. Be the reason why somebody smiles today. Hug harder, laugh louder, smile bigger, love longer. When someone tells you, you can't, turn around and say, watch me. No matter how you feel, get up, dress up, show up, and never give up. Obstacles are those frightful things you see when you take your eyes off the goal. Do something today that your future self will thank you for. You are so much stronger than you think you are. Life begins at the end of your comfort zone. Be patient. Things will change for the better. Success does not come to you. You go to it. Your future always depends on what you're doing now. Remember that in the long run, you will benefit from caregiving because you will have no regrets, knowing that you did everything you could and what was right. You can achieve whatever you believe in. And that concludes my highlight section. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.
She was as the Elvis. Thank you very much.
I have one question or comment. Throughout your speech, you say that the caregiver has to encourage the patient, and that they definitely do, but you have to be careful because sometimes that encouragement goes over the line and it feels like they're being pushed.
Yes, I understand that.
That's where people like Eileen in her position, for instance, we were talking about this before in our Zoom green room, that really Eileen's balance and power programs, and if they should hire Eileen to work with them, sometimes it's more beneficial for the families and the loved ones of the person going through it, because Eileen can guide them, and you'll share in 2 seconds, but Eileen can guide them in that balance, and the family and loved ones will have somebody to support them as they go through it. Eileen, take it away.
Yes, thank you. It's so important for family members who are the support team for the patient in recovery and wherever they may be, wherever the patient may be. It's so important for the families to be supportive and to be accountable to someone outside of the family, such as myself, to discuss what's going on and to be accountable. I started to say that family member, he or she himself, is exercising, is taking care of himself, and so on, doing the meditation if they can, being grateful, and to be accountable to someone else outside of a best friend or family member. I've had people tell me, who have hired me, who say, I'm so happy I stopped talking to my whoever it was. I'm not going to start bad-mouthing members of family here, because it's like they destroy the relationship in a way, and you never want to do that.
I just want to add that some caregivers do not have family that will be supportive and may be negative towards what you're doing for your loved one. I was lucky I had my husband. I had his total support. And I know that I wasn't pushing when I tried to encourage my loved one, who was my dad, that he was going to get better, because I was dealing with one family member that came into the room and said something really negative, and I had to ask her not to come back. And I found that talking to a friend or somebody on the outside who wasn't family was more supportive. And of course, my husband was very supportive, but many times I was alone in this caregiving, and I had never been in that situation before. And I didn't push, but I said, you are going to get better. It's going to take time. We have to be positive. You know, you've had a very healthy life up until now. We're going to do it together.
Right. Right.
So,
And
so
that's why,
important, Judy, and I agree. Many people, I know, many people have no one in the family or in the friends even, some people, who are good support. And don't just like you, it's very easy to feel sorry for ourselves as caregivers if that happens. So don't allow that to happen. Seek someone out.
right, right. And that's, you know, I keep going back to Dominic Cortellessa, who was the one that helped me. He pushed, but he didn't push too hard. But what I felt like was, and Eileen and I guess Stacy, I'm really talking to because Stacy had the stroke, it was almost like he had our back. He never let go of that string. And and this is something I visually, and this is so important. He would come ask me a question, not give me the answers because I didn't know it, and said to me, we'll come back to this tomorrow. Think about it. And he'd walk away. So he wasn't pushing me, you got to answer, you got to answer it, you got to answer it, you got to answer it. He was like, okay, I know you can answer this, but not today. So we'll come back tomorrow. Go ahead. Go ahead, Judy.
Another point is that I found support from other caregivers in the nursing home who are going through similar experiences, maybe not for stroke, but for some other illness, and daughters who were taking care of either their mother or their dad. And I would meet with them in the lobby, and we would talk, or in the hall, and we would talk about what we were going through, what we could do about it, and thinking about having a caregiving group meet some of the people who were actually involved in this. Let's meet, let's have lunch together or something and talk about this and find a way to approach it in a more positive way.
Now, you know, I belong to Adler Aphasia Center, and in addition to all the clients with aphasia, they have groups for the caregivers so that they're not feeling alone.
Wow.
And that's very important, and that was not happening, and it was not happening in one of the best nursing homes that I had my dad in, and I searched all the nursing homes, and he was in what I consider the best, and there was nothing to support caregivers. So I actually got it started myself among other caregivers.
Wow, that's incredible. Eileen?
Yeah, it's just so important. Even any organization, such as I'm thinking of NAMI right now, when I worked with that, they had caregivers support groups as well as for the clients. And there are some local, national groups now. If you Google National Caregivers Association, I'm not sure that's the right name, but there are several groups out there that are helping caregivers.
And there was nobody at the time to tell you there was a caregiving group of a national group that could help. So we were really on our own.
Yes, yes.
I mean, you just wrote another book?
Well,
Tell us
not
about it.
just.
Oh, you wrote this, because
I wrote this about 10 years ago.
Oh, okay. Yes.
And I have 3 smaller ebooks that are sections of this book. This is also an ebook. You can find all of it on my website, which is May I Balance and
Yes, go ahead.
balanceandpower.com. So on the products page, ebook of this SOAR is Succeed, Overcome Obstacles, Achieve Your Goals, and Reduce Stress and Anger. And as a certified anger management specialist, life and career coach, and EFT tapping practitioner, I helped so many people to reach their goals and make good choices.
That's incredible. Thank you so much. You know, we've been, 1 hour is not long enough. because
It flies by.
I know, it does. It flies by. People would say, what am I going to talk about for 1 hour? And I'm like, it's like, believe me, it'll go so fast. So I would like to invite both of you to join us on the next show. Are you available, Eileen?
Yes, yes.
And you're available, Stacy. That's awesome. Our next guest is, what's his name? Peter, hang on.
Peter G. Levine.
Levine. Okay. Thank you, Judy. And I found him, I was just Googling people that wrote books on strokes and stroke survivors that wrote books. And he wrote a book, Stronger After Stroke. Judy, do you have his information in front of you?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So, and so what we're going to do is we're going to close out this show. We're going to blow kisses, of course. And then we'll zoom back in. So I'm just saying that so Jim knows my plan of action, because I always change. And I always like to let everybody know in advance where I'm going. But share a little bit about Peter, Judy.
Our 10 a.m. show will feature special guest Peter G. Levine, an American medical researcher and science educator and authority on stroke recovery. His articles have been published extensively in peer-reviewed journals on brain plasticity and how it relates to stroke, with emphasis on modified constraint-induced therapy. Some of these words I'm not going to be able to pronounce well.
You don't have to go too in detail, but I'm just
But
give
that's
us a brief.
basically what he's going to be talking about.
Yeah. And he actually asked me if I had some plasticity. Plasticity is in the muscles, right, Stacy? When you're
And in your head.
In your head, your brain, your nerves all have plasticity.
Mhm.
Right. Okay, so I'm really excited to welcome him onto the show. Let me see if Jim, do you, can you come on to I just want to make sure he hears me. Do you hear me, Jim?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, great. Okay, so we're gonna roll out of this show, and like I said, Eileen, it's such a pleasure, because you really, and my question to you will tap into that about us still getting affected by life, and how we got to fake our way through it. And how, something I really want to state quickly is we were talking about a fake smile. I remember in Eat, Pray, Love, right? The movie with Julie Roberts, where she was meditating in the, on the when she was meditating, I forget where she was.
Some tropical, lovely place.
Yes, some tropical lovely place. It was beautiful.
I wouldn't mind meditating in a tropical, lovely place.
Yes, and she always had a smile on her face, because that gentleman shared with her that she needed to do that. So and the other thing is, and this is something else we've got to talk about in the next show, is practice, right? It takes practice.
Oh, yes.
Yes, that's why I called my life coaching business Awaken Your Practice, because it's not something that just comes to you naturally. It's like with softball, you have to practice it.
And singing and dancing. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So the next show, those are all the topics we're going to touch on the next show, Judy.
Okay.
So we're gonna fly out of here. We're gonna blow our kisses. Both of you don't leave the Zoom, because Jim will just close it out on the Facebook. Okay.
Great.
So, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us this hour. It went too fast. There's too much information talking about positivity and balance and power with Eileen. We hope that you will reach out to her. If you have any questions, of course, you can go through us to get to her. We're going to create a page on our website with Eileen under the base program. So that we could support you going through anything you need in your life. So we hope that helps you as well. We look forward to having Peter Levine on the next hour, and we hope you'll join us. Here we go. Let's blow our kisses. 1, 2, 3. Bye,
God
everybody.
bless you all.
See you in a few minutes. Bye.
Yo no sé qué tú piensas, yo no sé lo que haré, yo no sé lo que estoy perdiendo, yo no sé lo que va a pasar, no me puedes escuchar, llorar solo sin ti, no me puedes oír llorar. Por la puerta, todas las memorias fueron. Mi corazón está vacío, como si tuviera ayer. No me puedes escuchar llorar solo sin ti. Mi corazón está sufriendo. No me puedes escuchar llorar solo sin ti, no me puedes oír llorar. Usted está en mi sueño por la noche, por favor no peleemos. Es tan difícil para mí y para ti. Yo, ¿qué puedo hacer? No me puedes escuchar llorar solo sin ti. Mi corazón está sufriendo. No me puedes escuchar llorar solo sin ti. No me puedes oír llorar. No me puedes escuchar llorar solo sin ti. Mi corazón está sufriendo. No me puedes escuchar llorar solo sin ti. No me puedes oír, no me puedes escuchar. Escuchar llorar solo sin ti. Mi corazón está comes a time when everything just falls in line. We live and learn from our mistakes. The deepest cuts I give our faith. Now I believe there comes a time when everything just falls in line. We live and learn from our mistakes. The deepest cuts I give our faith. Now I believe there comes a time when